Welcome in, everybody, to the Daily Diamond Buzz Show. It's Thursday, August 27, 2026. I'm Dean Patino, and we've got a full day of baseball to sort through together. We'll start with the games because Wednesday gave us everything from dominant pitching to late inning tension, with a few offenses putting on a show along the way. Then we'll turn the page to today's schedule, and I'm locked in on a heavyweight pitching matchup in Atlanta. Yoshinobu Yamamoto meets Chris Sale, and that is appointment viewing. Gerrit Cole is also taking the ball against Houston in the Bronx with the Astros and Yankees back at it. From there, we'll check the pennant race. The calendar is getting serious now. Every series carries a little more weight. Every missed opportunity feels a little bigger, and every club still in the hunt is trying to find its best baseball before September arrives. Our spotlight legend is a power-packed presence who made Pittsburgh believe. Willie Stargell brought the thunder, supplied the leadership, and became one of the defining figures in Pirates history. We'll look back at the man they called Pops and the unmistakable impact he left on the game. And then it's time for Dean's Take. Expansion always sounds tempting when October approaches, but I'll tell you why baseball should hold the line at 12 postseason teams. The playoff field is big enough. The regular season still has to mean something. Yamamoto meets Sale, Willie Stargell brings the thunder, and I defend a 12-team postseason. Let's talk baseball. Yesterday's loudest game came in Cincinnati, where the Reds survived a wild one. Cincinnati Reds 10, San Francisco Giants 9. Tony Santillan earned the win. Dylan Smith took the loss, and Emilio Pagan closed it out. Whenever the two teams combine for that much offense, simply getting the final out becomes the whole story. There was late drama in St. Louis 2, Baltimore Orioles 8, St. Louis Cardinals 7. Grant Wolfram was the winning pitcher, Riley O'Brien took the loss, and Andrew Kittredge recorded the save. Baltimore came away with the narrow victory, and those clubs get right back together tonight. Atlanta also won a close one against the defending National League power from Los Angeles. Los Angeles Dodgers 5, Atlanta Braves 6. Victor Medeiros got the win, while Tanner Scott was charged with the loss. The Braves claimed the first meeting, setting up a terrific pitching matchup in the follow-up tonight. In New York, the Yankees handled Houston. Houston Astros 3, New York Yankees 9. Paul Blackburn earned the victory, and Bennett Sousa took the loss. That result gives the Yankees momentum before they put Gerrit Cole on the mound tonight. The biggest runaway belonged to Colorado. Colorado Rockies 13, Washington Nationals 1. Tanner Gordon was the winner, and Will Dion took the loss. The Rockies offense turned that game into a rout, and Washington now has to reset quickly at home. The White Sox also had a big day with the bats. Texas Rangers 4, Chicago White Sox 10. Sean Newcomb picked up the win. Mackenzie Gore was the losing pitcher, and Jonathan Cannon earned the save. Milwaukee rolled at Citi Field. Milwaukee Brewers 8, New York Mets 1. Robert Gasser earned the victory, while Robert Stock took the loss. The Brewers carried the day decisively, and now the Mets face another very different challenge from Milwaukee's rotation tonight. Philadelphia shut down Seattle completely. Philadelphia Phillies 6, Seattle Mariners 0. Jesus Luzardo was the winning pitcher, and Brian Wu took the loss. Luzardo gave the Phillies exactly what they needed, while the offense supplied plenty of separation. Tampa Bay also authored a shutout. Tampa Bay raised 3, Detroit Tigers 0. Freddie Peralta got the win, Troy Melton took the loss, and Tyler Wells finished it for the save. Clean work from the Tampa Bay pitching staff made the difference there. San Diego kept Pittsburgh off the board as well. Pittsburgh Pirates 0, San Diego Padres 3. Randy Vasquez earned the win. Bubba Chandler was charged with the loss, and Bradley Rodriguez recorded the save. Toronto did the same thing to Kansas City. Kansas City Royals 0, Toronto Blue Jays 3. Chad Dallas picked up the victory. Randy Dobnak took the loss, and Louis Varland secured the save. Arizona completed another shutout on the board. Chicago Cubs 0, Arizona Diamondbacks 2. Eduardo Rodriguez earned the win, Matthew Boyd took the loss, and Juan Murillo closed it out. The Diamondbacks now move on to San Francisco for tonight's matchup. Miami blanked Boston at home. Boston Red Sox 0, Miami Marlins 4. Ryan Gusto was the winning pitcher, and Sonny Gray took the loss. That made 5 shutouts across yesterday's full slate, a strong day for run prevention around the league. Cleveland squeezed past the Angels, Cleveland Guardians 4, Los Angeles Angels 3. Hunter Gaddis earned the win, Ryan Watson took the loss, and Eric Sabrowski recorded the save. And the Athletics got past Minnesota. Minnesota Twins 4, Athletics 7, JT Ginn was the winner, Andrew Morris took the loss, and Elvis Alvarado earned the save. Now, as we come to you today, all 7 games are still to come. Nothing is underway, and there are no finals on the board yet. My first stop is Atlanta, where Yoshinobu Yamamoto faces Chris Saleh in the best pitching matchup of the day. The Braves won yesterday's meeting, and now the Dodgers hand the baseball to Yamamoto with a chance to respond against one of the nastiest left-handers around. That is appointment viewing. In the Bronx, Houston sends Hayden Wesneski against Gerrit Cole. The Yankees won yesterday, and Cole gives New York the kind of power arm that can take over the entire night when his fastball and command are working together. I'm also watching Milwaukee at the Mets. Jacob Misiorowski brings the electricity against Sean Manaea after the Brewers took yesterday's game. That contrast should be fun. Premium velocity and raw force on one side, and a veteran left-hander trying to disrupt timing on the other. Elsewhere, Gabriel Hughes starts for Colorado against Jake Irvin and Washington. Baltimore sends Trevor Rogers against St. Louis, whose starter remains to be determined. Noah Cameron goes for Kansas City against Spencer Arrighetti and Toronto. And in San Francisco, Jose Cabrera gets the ball for Arizona opposite Landon Roop. Those Atlanta, Bronx, and Queens matchups have my attention tonight, but the entire board is waiting for its first pitch. Let's check the pennant races, and we'll begin with the tightest division in baseball right now, the American League West. The Astros are in front at 66-67, but there is almost no separation here. The Rangers are 68, just 0.5 games back, and the Mariners are 64-70, 2.5 games back. Houston has lost 1, Texas has lost 2 straight, and Seattle has lost 1. Nobody is creating daylight. Over the next couple of weeks, every small swing matters because this race is close enough to change leaders in a night. The American League Central is nearly as compelling. The White Sox lead at 70-63 with the Guardians at 68-66 and 2.5 games back. Cleveland has won 7 straight, the longest active streak on this board, while Chicago has won 2 straight. That is a real race with both teams carrying momentum. The Twins remain within sight at 64-70 and 6.5 games back, but they have lost 2 straight. For Minnesota, the next couple of weeks are about moving now before this becomes strictly a 2-team fight. In the East, the Rays are 79-54, the Yankees are 75-57 and 3.5 games back, while the Red Sox are 73-60 and 6.0 games back. Tampa Bay still has control, but New York is close enough to apply pressure. Boston has less margin for a quiet stretch. Over in the National League, the Braves lead the East at 78-55. The Phillies are 74-60 and 4.5 games back. Atlanta has won 3 straight, so Philadelphia needs to keep pace before that gap grows. The Brewers own the Central at 82-51. The Cubs are 76-58 and 6.5 games back. Milwaukee has the strongest record in these standings, and Chicago has lost 2 straight. The division is not finished, but the Cubs need to reverse that direction quickly. The Dodgers lead the West at 80-53. The Padres are 72-62 and 8.5 games back, with the D-backs at 71-63 and 9.5 games back. The more immediate story there is the wild card. San Diego currently holds a wild card position, while Arizona is only 1.0 game back. That National League wild card race deserves attention. The Phillies are in strong position at plus 2.0, and the Cubs are at plus 4.0. The Padres hold the final spot with the D-backs 1.0 game back and the Marlins 4.0 games back. In the American League, the Yankees and Red Sox have wildcard cushions at plus 8.0 and plus 5.5. The Guardians hold the remaining position, but the Rangers are 2.0 games back, the Orioles are 2.5 games back, and the Blue Jays are 3.0 games back. So the races to circle are the American League West, the American League Central, and both final wildcard spots. Those are the pressure points, and the next couple of weeks could reshape all of them. When Willie Stargell stepped to the plate, the baseball could become a public event. You didn't just follow its flight, You watched everyone else follow it too. Infielders turned, outfielders drifted back, fans lifted their eyes. Stargell didn't merely hit baseballs, he launched them with the kind of force that made an entire ballpark look up. They called him Pops, and the nickname captured something larger than age. It spoke to the authority he carried, the affection he inspired, and the way teammates looked to him. Stargell spent his entire career in Pittsburgh, from 1962 through 1982. Across all those changing summers, he became the Thunder in the middle of the Pirates lineup and one of the defining leaders in franchise history. Think about the staying power behind that career. Baseball changed around him, pitchers changed, teammates changed, ballparks and strategies changed. Stargell remained a Pittsburgh Pirate, a constant presence with a swing that could transform the mood of a game in an instant. By the end, his record spoke with real weight. He had 2,032 hits, 475 home runs, 140 runs batted in, and a 282 batting average. Those are enormous numbers in any era. The home runs tell you about the force. The runs batted in tell you how often that force mattered, with teammates waiting to come home. The hits and batting average remind you that Stargell was not simply standing there hoping to run into one. He was a complete dangerous hitter who built production across a remarkably long career. And yet the numbers still don't quite explain the man. For that, go to 1979. Stargell was late in a magnificent career, at the point when many great players have already delivered their defining memories. Somehow, he found another level. He shared the National League MVP award, then carried that impact onto the biggest stage as the Pirates won the World Series. Stargell was named World Series MVP. That is the moment that brings his whole story together. The feared slugger was still providing the power. The beloved captain was still setting the emotional tone. On an unforgettable Pittsburgh club, he became both the muscle and the heartbeat. Greatness is one thing when it arrives early, with fresh legs and endless tomorrows. It feels different when a veteran summons it near the end, when experience, leadership, and ability all meet under October pressure. Put Stargell in today's game and the power would still play. Every club searches for hitters who can change a game with one swing, drive in runs, and force pitchers to approach the middle of a lineup carefully. Modern analysis would measure every detail of the damage, but teammates and fans would recognize the larger quality immediately. Presence does not need a new statistic. Willie Stargell entered the Hall of Fame in 1988. It was a fitting honor for a feared slugger, a beloved captain, and a true baseball giant. Pops gave Pittsburgh more than home runs. He gave the Pirates an identity, and whenever one of his drives took flight, he gave the whole ballpark a reason to look up. Here's your Did You Know for today. On May 2nd, 1917, Cincinnati's Fred Toney and Chicago's Hippo Vaughn each held the opposing team hitless through 9 innings before the Reds scored in the 10th. Toney completed a 10-inning no-hitter, while Vaughn took a 1-0 loss. Think about how extraordinary that sequence had to be. A no-hitter usually puts one pitcher at the center of the baseball world. This game had 2 pitchers carrying one at the same time, matching each other inning for inning, with neither offense able to break through. Every ball in play mattered. Every defensive chance had to be handled. Every time one pitcher escaped trouble, the other had to answer. And because the game remained scoreless through 9, neither man had any margin for error. One mistake, one clean swing, or one ball finding open grass could have ended the entire spectacle. Then came the cruel difference between their final lines. Cincinnati found the run it needed in the 10th, so Vaughn could no longer claim a no-hitter and still absorb the 1-0 loss. Toney, meanwhile, returned to the mound with a lead and finished what he started. That's what makes this more than a pitching duel. It was a shared pursuit through 9 innings, followed by a sudden split in fortune. One pitcher walked away with a 10-inning no-hitter. The other had been just as untouchable through regulation and still ended the day on the losing side. Baseball can be magnificent and merciless in the very same game. Here's my take. Major League Baseball should keep the postseason field at 12 teams because the regular season has to mean more than simply surviving it. I understand the temptation to expand. 14 playoff teams would keep more clubs in contention, give more fan bases a reason to watch in September, and create additional postseason inventory. Those are real benefits. This is an entertainment business, and meaningful games are easier to sell than games between teams already looking toward next year. But baseball cannot let the pursuit of more October games weaken the 6 months that make October matter. My first reason is simple: a 162 game season has to eliminate somebody. That sounds harsh, but elimination is one of the regular season's essential jobs. Baseball asks teams to prove themselves across different opponents, ballparks, weather conditions, injuries, slumps, hot streaks, travel demands, and roster decisions. That enormous sample is not an inconvenience standing between opening day and the playoffs. It is the foundation of the sport. If 14 of 30 teams qualify, nearly half the league gets invited. At that point, the standard begins to shift from excellence toward basic survival. A club could spend months playing uneven baseball, sneak through the final door, get hot for a week, and remove a team that demonstrated its quality across the full schedule. Upsets are part of the fun, but the lower seed should first have to clear a meaningful bar. My second reason is that 12 teams preserve the value of winning a division and finishing with one of the strongest records. The current structure gives clubs several ways into October, but it also creates separation at the top. That matters. A team should receive a real advantage for being excellent over 162 games. Otherwise, we're asking players and fans to invest in a marathon while steadily reducing the reward for winning it. A division race should be about more than a banner and home field positioning. It should carry consequences. The difference between winning the division, earning a top seed, and entering through a lower wildcard spot should be substantial enough to shape decisions and create pressure. 12 teams strike a reasonable balance. The door is open, but the best route still has value. My third reason is the feeling of September itself. I want urgency. I want every loss by a contender to sting. I want scoreboard watching to feel a little uncomfortable. If the field keeps expanding, the bubble becomes softer. More teams remain technically alive, but the drama can actually become less intense because the consequences are less severe. There is a difference between having more teams involved and having better races. A crowded standings page does not automatically produce compelling baseball. True drama comes from scarcity. It comes from knowing there may not be room for every decent club, and that one rough week can change everything. Now, the strongest argument for 14 teams is not greed, it is access. Baseball wants more cities engaged. A wider field could discourage fewer front offices from selling at the trade deadline. It could give emerging teams meaningful experience and offer fans in more markets a taste of October. In a sport trying to build younger audiences and sustain attention across a long season, that case deserves an honest hearing. There is also no guarantee that a lower seed will produce lesser entertainment. Baseball is beautifully unstable in a short series. A team with strong pitching, a deep bullpen, and a timely lineup can become dangerous immediately. That possibility is not a flaw. It is one of October's great charms, but unpredictability works best after qualification remains difficult. The magic is not that anybody can win. The magic is that anybody who earned a place can win. 12 teams already provide 6 playoff clubs in each league. That is enough to include division champions, reward elite records, and leave room for wildcard teams without turning the regular season into extended qualifying. It keeps more markets engaged while preserving the sting of falling short. Baseball should resist the idea that more always means better. October is valuable because it is limited. A postseason berth should feel like an achievement, not a participation threshold. Keep the field at 12, protect the pressure of September, and let 162 games continue to separate the teams that had good stretches from the teams that truly earned another season. Now let's get into the mailbag. Arturo in Boise asks, Dodgers Braves has Yoshinobu Yamamoto against Chris Sale today. Would you bunch your 3 best hitters together against a starter like that, or spread them out so there's a dangerous bat in every part of the lineup? I'd bunch them together. Against high-level starting pitching, your best chance usually comes when your best hitters can build an inning off one another. Spreading them out may look balanced, but it creates easier escape routes. A pitcher can work around one dangerous hitter if the next matchup feels more comfortable, put the big bats together, and force him through the toughest stretch without a breather. You still need somebody getting on base ahead of that group, and you don't want the bottom of the order completely disconnected. But in a matchup like Yamamoto and Sale, concentrated pressure is more valuable than cosmetic balance. Joan in Boise asks, with Hayden Wesneski facing Gerrit Cole in Astros Yankees, what does a starting pitcher do if his own team has a really long turn at bat and he's sitting around for 20 minutes? That sounds helpful, but can it knock him out of rhythm? It absolutely can, even though he'll gladly accept the runs in the long inning. The key is not treating that time like a complete break. He'll stay loose, move around, maybe make a few easy throws, and keep his mind connected to where he is in the opposing order. The mistake is getting too comfortable, then rushing back into game intensity. After a long wait, simplify the first batter, get back into the delivery, establish a competitive strike, and don't chase the perfect pitch immediately. Rhythm can return quickly, but the pitcher has to respect that his body is cooled and the mental pace has changed. Jamal in Scranton asks, Jose Cabrera and Landon Raup are listed for Diamondbacks Giants today. How much does the hitter standing on deck really affect the way a pitcher attacks the guy at the plate? It matters, but not quite as much as the old idea of lineup protection sometimes suggests. The pitcher's first responsibility is to retire the hitter in front of him, but the on-deck batter can change the risk he's willing to accept. If the next matchup looks worse, he may challenge the current hitter more aggressively rather than create a base runner. If it looks favorable, he has more freedom to work near the edges and risk a walk. The inning, the number of outs, and whether runners are aboard all shape that decision. The on-deck hitter influences the plan, but he doesn't guarantee better pitches. Marisol in Wichita asks, I go back and forth on how much October should matter for the Hall of Fame. Should a great postseason resume push a borderline player into Cooperstown, or is the regular season sample just too much bigger? October should matter, but it should not erase the larger career. The regular season shows what kind of player somebody was over many years. The postseason shows how he performed on the biggest stage against strong competition. For a borderline candidate, a substantial body of October excellence can provide the final push because those games carry unusual pressure and lasting importance, but one famous series or a couple of unforgettable moments are not enough. I want sustained regular season value first, with postseason performance as meaningful supporting evidence. October can reveal greatness, but it cannot manufacture it. That'll do it for the mailbag. Keep those questions coming at Baseball Nation Network. Now let's turn the page to tonight, because 7 games are still ahead of us, and there is plenty of pitching intrigue across the board. The headline matchup is in Atlanta, where Yoshinobu Yamamoto takes the ball for the Dodgers against Chris Sale and the Braves. That is the kind of pairing that makes every early at-bat feel important. I'll be watching which lineup forces the opposing starter to work and which pitcher establishes control of the strike zone before the game settles in. In the Bronx, Hayden Wesneski goes for Houston against Gerrit Cole and the Yankees. The Astros will have to handle the pressure Cole can create when he gets ahead, while Wesneski faces the challenge of navigating that New York lineup. Milwaukee and the Mets offer another fascinating contrast, with Jacob Misiorowski opposing Sean Manaea. I want to see how each lineup adjusts to a very different look from the mound. Kansas City visits Toronto with Noah Cameron facing Spencer Arrighetti, and that one could hinge on which starter finds a dependable secondary pitch first. Trevor Rogers gets the assignment for Baltimore and St. Louis, while the Cardinals' probable starter has not yet been announced. Arizona heads to San Francisco with Jose Cabrera matched against Landon Raup. And in Washington, Gabriel Hughes starts for Colorado opposite Jake Irvin. What am I watching most closely? Yamamoto against Sale is impossible to ignore, but I'm also interested in how Misiorowski handles the Mets and how Cole attacks Houston. Beyond the marquee names, keep an eye on the first trip through the order. That is where you often learn whether a starter has his full mix or will be grinding all night. Tomorrow's matchups and probable pitchers are not included in the available schedule yet, so we'll hold off on naming anything that has not been confirmed. Once that slate is set, we'll have it covered right here. For Baseball Nation Network, I'm Dean Patino. Enjoy the games tonight, and I'll meet you back here tomorrow on the Daily Diamond Buzz Show. That's your Daily Diamond Buzz. What happened, why it matters, and what's next. Everything baseball, every day, every era. Come see it all at Baseball Nation Network. I'm Dean Patino. We'll talk tomorrow.